What makes a good camera? Is it the build quality, the number of megapixels, or the camera's battery life? People say that, the best camera is the one that you have with you, and for many of us, that's actually the camera on our phones. But I think there's more to that. And I think that a good camera, the best camera, is the one that makes you fall in love with photography all over again. And for me, that camera is the new Fujifilm X100VI. Most of you are familiar with its predecessor, the X100V, a camera which 2 years after its launch in 2020 exploded in popularity thanks to TikTok, where Fujifilm was forced to even stop taking pre-orders as they were unable to meet the demands. I was an early adopter of the X100 way back in 2010. Back then, point-and-shoot cameras were getting smaller and smaller, and we were seeing an advent of mirrorless cameras get better and better. Then there was Fujifilm, who came up with a different proposal. Imagine being up against small and thin point-and-shoot or cameras that had interchangeable lenses that were smaller than their DSLR counterparts. The Fujifilm X100 is not a camera that was designed for noobs, but for photographers who wanted something compact, but is still able to dial in on the settings. The shutter dial and controls are there for users to easily fine-tune the settings, and the hybrid viewfinder combines both optical and electronic system, and it's the first of its kind. For some people though, the 23mm f2.0 fixed lens was limiting, but it's the same limit which breeds creativity. It makes you think out of the box, to move your body to capture the best possible angles, to challenge the limits of the camera to try and make yourself a better photographer. "14 years on, after 5 iterations, the X100VI still retains the very spirit as its first version. Although it has enjoyed many upgrades since, it still has a 23mm f2.0 fixed lens, but it's still an absolute joy to shoot with. Now, there are many videos out there which will go into the nitty-gritty details about the specs and technical aspects of this camera. Unfortunately, my channel is not one of those. I will talk about how this camera made me feel and why I love shooting with it. Fujifilm is a very unique company. They dabble in a wide range of business operations, including medical, imaging devices, photocopying machines, and even skincare. But one thing you need to know is that they are the only camera company I know that makes cameras, lenses, and film. And it's this unique position that they're in to be able to offer a camera like the X100VI. You see, one of the biggest draws of the X100VI was the film simulations that came with the camera. Fujifilm was able to draw from its archives and include films that they have produced physically into a digital form. One of the new film simulations that was added to the X100VI, Reala-Ace, was a film that they discontinued in 2012, but we are still able to enjoy this look and feel in this camera. There are 20 film simulations in the X100VI, and even if you're not a fan of any of them, there are ways you can custom what they call recipes to create a look and feel that you love. There is a lot you can tweak. You first select a film-based simulation, then fine-tune things like highlights, shadows, dynamic range, white balance, clarity, sharpness, and grain. There's really so much you can do with it and allows you to take gorgeous photos like this. One of the things which I found lacking in its previous version was the ability to customize my own recipes for video, but I'm happy to report that the X100VI also allows you to customize film recipes for your videos as well, so now you can have a consistent look across both your photos and your videos. And speaking of videos, the X100VI now comes with a 6-point in-body image stabilization, which means you can take more stable videos even when doing it handheld. This is also great for taking sharper videos under low light condition when you have to switch to a lower shutter speed to let more light through. As a hybrid shooter, there's a lot more reason for me to upgrade from the X100V to the X100VI. I loved shooting photos with the X100V when I travel, but I found myself having to bring another camera for shooting videos as the X100V did not come with IBIS. Of course, I could bring a tripod, but who wants to lug around a heavy tripod or take the time to set it up when you travel? So now I just bring the X100VI with me and I'll be able to shoot both photos and videos with the same camera. with a consistent look across both, all in a compact body that allows me to take it everywhere with me. Looking back, I never thought I would be using the latest version of a camera that I bought 14 years ago, and that itself speaks a lot about how good design endures the test of time and how constant innovation only made this camera more and more relevant. This camera is a classic in its own right, and I could argue that the X100 series is one of the most important cameras that was launched in the last decade, and what a joy it has been to shoot with. I'm really looking forward to capturing more memories with this camera.